In class, we talked briefly about proportionality, and I thought it would be important to define that. So all proportional means is, let's say we have, like in class, y equals k times x. A proportional relationship just means if you take a ratio of two variables, they always equal the same number. So even though I don't have any numbers here, if I rearrange this equation, I divide x on both sides, x crosses out here, I end up with y over x equals k, which means the ratio of y to x is always going to equal this constant, and this k we'll call the proportionality constant. So in class we try to discuss, well, what's going to happen to y if you change the value of x? So in order to do that, and I think we need just a quick, like a good concrete way, what you can do is you can just say, okay, let me write something out first before I talk. All right, so y equals k times x. Let's say y is doubled in this scenario. So, no, I'm sorry, we're supposed to be figuring out y. So let's say x is doubled. Well, we're going to have to both compare what is x originally with what is x after it's doubled. So let's just write two equations. Let's make it easy. Let's say x equals 1. So originally, so if x equals 1, y equals k times 1, so y equals k. And so that's our first scenario. And then if the question says, what if x is doubled? Okay? So the question says, what if x is doubled? So here's our first scenario. This is before x is doubled. X equals 1, y equals k. And then let's double x. So x equals 2. Well, y equals 2. K, or k2, whatever, right? So y equals 2 times k. So that means that y, if x is doubled, then y is doubled. So that's a really easy way to figure out what's going to happen to numbers. Just plug some numbers in and do two scenarios. Let's do another one. We talked before about maybe y equals k times x squared. So y equals k times x squared, and let's say, let's just do the same thing. X is doubled. What happens to y? Okay, so if x is doubled, what happens to y? And I'm going to just get rid of this stuff over there. We won't talk about it anymore. Let's put in a number. Now, I don't like to use 1 in this scenario because I know that well, you know what? No, I can totally use 1. No, why not use 1? All right, so let's start again. Let's say, originally, before I double x, let's say x is equal to 1. That means that y is going to equal k times 1 squared, which is 1. Y is going to equal k. Okay? So now let's double x. Now y equals k. Doubled x would be, it was 1, so now x is going to be 2. Y equals k2 squared, so y equals k times 4. Okay? And that means, I know 4k is probably appropriate, but whatever, you see what I'm doing. So that means that y was equal to k, now it's equal to k times 4. So if x is doubled in this scenario, then y is quadrupled. So that's kind of a good way to do that. And you can do it with any of the variables, right? If you've got 1 over x, that's a proportional relationship with like y and 1 over x. Just plug in a number for x and see what happens. That's a quick little shortcut for you.